Alright, so I start off by just figuring out which Pokemon I wanted to draw. And I choose, of course, Scorbunny. Because Scorbunny is actually my favorite Pokemon. So I was like, okay, I'll start off with Scorbunny. And the first idea was that he was gonna be sitting, as you could see. But then I figured that standing would have been cuter. And I started by adding some like grass and flowers and butterflies, thinking it would be like a forest or a field scene with the clouds in the background. But I ended up changing it later on because I didn't think it turned out that strong. So I start by just blocking it out, like you can see now. So I try and block things perfectly to see the silhouette. This is a recent thing I've been doing. It helps a lot with posing and compositioning. So I just start by with the background. Yeah, we scrap all this, so I don't even know why I kept it in. And then I start by adding the colors back in. This is quite a complicated step with the layers. Because you have a bunch of clipping masks and stuff. To make sure that everything is below and above so I can edit it as I go. But then later on I end up combining a bunch of layers so it's easier to work over and over each part in shadow. And I start with this multiply layer shadows and then drawing over it, making some texture, but I end up scrapping it because I thought it looked a little bit too purple and edgy. So I end up doing it manually instead. So now I'm just like, I'm jumping all over the place, going to the butterflies, the flower, the grass. And the flower I end up scrapping too. I just thought that Scorbunny isn't really a flowery type of Pokemon. This is when I start doing the manual shadows. Which I think end up looking much nicer and smoother. Much more softer. Since it's a sunny scene at the end too, you gotta add a lot of shadows. I didn't go too crazy though, because I didn't want the painting to be too contrasty when looking at it from afar. And I'm just adding more line art. And then of course the eyes, the classic eyes with the little orange and white details. Just adding a bunch of like different colors and values and hues, so it's not as uniformed. Like we're not going from a light yellow to a dark yellow or a light red to a dark red. We're going from yellow to orange to red to pink to purple. It's very important to do this because real photos and real lighting doesn't just work in a smooth scale. And when drawing, I really like to accentuate these features and these colors. It makes the final result look really yummy, almost. It's a very good technique that I learned rather late in my art journey. And now I'm just adding in trees that I will scrap. I think it's cute, but it doesn't work for this Pokemon. It doesn't work for this scene. I just think this isn't as strong of a background as the finished product with the beach. I still think the flower is cute, but yeah. Not for this Pokemon, maybe for like a Bulbasaur? Or a grass type Pokemon? Or a bug type? But for a fire type that goes into fighting type, it's just like a little bit harsh. As you can see, I'm changing up the flower again. Oh, it's gone. Well, yeah, the flower is, it was too much of a blob, and I wanted it to look more like a sakura flower. But yeah, I ended up scratching it. I ended up scratching all of this background. Yeah, as you can see, I start over again, and I try and do a beach instead. Because I thought, he looks mildly uncomfortable, so maybe he's a little bit uncomfortable with the water. He doesn't really like the ocean, but he loves the warm sun at the beach. And then I was like, wait, what is he doing at the beach? Maybe he's building a sandcastle. And I was like, wait, there is a sandcastle Pokemon I could draw. So I started drawing, what's his name? Palisand. I started drawing Palisand. And yeah, I think it turned out pretty well. I tried to smooth it in with the sand, because I didn't want it to be too jarring, but I still wanted it to have some contrast so it wouldn't just look like a blob of sand. You know, it needed to have a lot of shadows for depth. And I still think it's a little bit flat, but you know, I didn't want it to smooth in too much with the environment. It's kind of hard to get a feel for what the angle is too. And yeah, I added the bucket, but we're changing the colors of the bucket to yellow, because the red was very distracting when you zoomed out. And the whole artwork is basically a lot of warm tones, but the only saturated points are the character and maybe, you know, some parts of the other Pokemon, because I want the eyes to focus on the face of the Scorbunny. And that's also why I added the sparkles, because I thought, well, maybe his fur is sparkling a bit in the sun. He's a fire Pokemon after all. And yeah, this is how it turned out. Let me know what you think. I added text too, but I got some feedback from a friend that said that it more looked like an afterthought than part of the piece, so I decided to not use the Scorbunny text underneath the artwork for the prints. But personally, I really like when there's text in art, so maybe I'll make it a special print for just myself. And then I also got feedback from that friend who said that well, the original background didn't really tell a story, so I decided to take his feedback about making a beach photo instead, and I added the sandcastle and the little bucket and everything to try and make it tell a story. And yeah, thank you for watching the progress in the process of making this Scorbunny art piece. It's available as a print on my shop if you wanna go and check it out. And a quick mention to those who stayed until the very end of the video. I am gonna be making a sneaky little project with this artwork and all the upcoming Pokemon artworks, where I will be doing Pokemon cards designed specifically for the artworks, just for fun. And if you wanna buy those or whatever you wanna use with those, I will definitely be up to sharing it. But yeah, I'm very excited about making some own Pokemon cards, well, designs at least. And if there's any Pokemon you want to see me draw next, please let me know in the comments. And yeah, Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.